Yeah, okay, fuckers and fuckheads. Now, the focus of this is getting into these little tiny areas right here and making that new seam, crack, whatever. If I'm doing a large area on an initial prep like this, I'm going to use 80 grit and this slow sander. All these little areas in here, you see this tank was brazed, and when you braze a tank, you can't help but get a little dent in there. I mean, maybe if you're a shitload better than I am, you can, but somebody had started to braze it. I had to braze it to patch up what they had done. And now I got, this is just fiberglass resin with extra fine powdered fiberglass in it. I don't have shredded glass in it because I'm more using it to just clean up that little dent, because I know that braze is going to hold, and I've already silk coated the inside of the tank, so we're all good with that. This shit ain't leaking again. But to get this little seam here, now what I have done all around it is I have fiberglass resin stuck up in that seam, and what's in that seam is West System epoxy. That's not my usual 3M it's not my usual 3M fiberglass resin. Now this over here is my usual 3M fiberglass resin. It don't matter. That shit all sands the same. And now Rockwell don't pay me nothing for showing you how to do this, but they make this little thing. It's called a Sonicrafter. I call it a triangle sander. But all I do is I use the edge of it . Okay, so we're going to call that a rough prep because we're on YouTube and I can't be on this all day. Now that was with 40. And then I'll take some 80. I love these things, man. These things are slicker than all shit on a hot tin roof. Now whichever is your favorite edge, I don't know if you're left-handed, right-handed, I'm ambidextrous, so it doesn't matter to me. But whichever is your favorite edge, leave a little bit of overlap there to where it will fold, but don't leave that much overlap to where it folds too much. I'm using this overlap because I'm going to hit it underneath. And this one doesn't really matter because this isn't going to be sharp, because I'm going to run down long enough to smooth it. I'm going to come back, hit it underneath. And you have to plan this shit when you're putting your paper on. You have to think. So if you happen to be a member of the Democratic Party, please God, don't attempt this. Get somebody from the Libertarians or the Constitutional Party or the Republican Party or anybody with a fucking brain. Let them do it for you. Anyway, I'm going to run this real quick and then I'm going to clean up my seam. And this is with, I think I said 80. I read it off the bottom of the thing in front of you, so back up if you didn't hear it. And now I'm going to come back down and I'm going to take my line that I just left when I did this. I left a little line in there. I'm going to come back down, I'm going to take that out. Now before I paint this, I'm going to hit this sucker with some 120, and then I'm going to hit it with some 400 after the primer layer. But before I do that, I'm going to take this sponge. I get these at Home Depot. Walmart's got them too. Matter of fact, Walmart, they're a lot cheaper. This is a Pro Grade Extra Fine. I don't know what that is in grit. But I'll take the corner of it. And take your cleanest corner, push in, get you some pressure in there so that it shapes to the seam. Even though it's not a seam, you know what I mean there. So it shapes to the concave of the crack, whatever the hell, however you want to say that. Boom, and I even went down to some of the brass on the braze. Still got fiberglass over it, and by the way, take your clean side. And you can use these sponges for wet sanding. They're really good for that. Makes life really easy. And I'm not sure if my buddy Dave did that or if I did that, but you know, Dave down at T&E. It was brazed up to about here. I ended up having to carry the braze up to about here. That's why there's two different kinds of metal in there, even though they're both brass. I just figured I'd show you how much of a braze we're dealing with. And you see that's pretty deep in there underneath that fiberglass, but I got a nice smooth surface when I'm done priming this and painting it. You'll never know that this tank was patched. But I figured I'd mention that braze and I'd mention this fiberglass while I was prepping this tank and showing y'all how to get in them cracks, because when I sell a bike, which this one is going up for sale as soon as I'm done, because I'm kind of hurting for money, but when I sell a bike, I like people to know exactly everything that I've done that wasn't, you know, 100%. This is that the rest of the tank will fall off and rot before that patch or anything in the near proximity of it goes bad. But I still like to, you know, hey, it's there, I did that. Somebody else did part of it. I fixed what they did, and now I'm fixing what both of us did by covering it up and smoothing it out. Alright, holler at y'all fuckers and fuckettes later. And remember, Dremel makes one of these too. If you go to use the Dremel one, now it's according to your hands and your muscles and your reactions. I've had more time with these Rockwells because the original one that I had was from the 50s. I mean, it was made by this same company, this Wizard company that made this one. And this Rockwell's just the closest for me, so it's the most comfortable to work with. But remember, when you do these lips here, get your sharpest lip out a little bit, then come back with your little flap and let your flap take in, and then come back and clean up your line, and you'll save yourself. Man, if you try doing this with a big sander or by hand, you're gonna be there all day. I think these Rockwells are about, I don't know, $200-300 for the whole kit, but you can get the Rockwell itself for like $80 right down here at Lowe's. Sometimes Home Depot actually has Rockwell shit too, but the Home Depot here in Venice kind of sucks for, I mean, I don't know. They got the Makita, the Ryobi, and the, by the way, don't buy the Ryobi one, it won't last you a month. They've got the Makita one, they've got the Ryobi one, they've got the Dremel one, but they don't have the Rockwell one at the Home Depot here in Venice. But they do have the little pads for them. And I found that ordering the pads off of eBay, fuck, you can get 100 pads of any particular grade of paper off of eBay for what it costs you to get 20 or 30 pads from down here at Home Depot or Lowe's. Alright, holler at y'all fuckers and fuckettes later.